Hello, dear students. Our next lesson for today is on metacognition. Metacognition is coined to be thinking about thinking. It was coined by John Flavel, and it is also known as learning how to learn. We will know later on what metacognition is. There are some checklists afterwards which will let you know if you are using metacognition. So, in metacognition, there are three variables. We have the person variable, we have the task variable, and the strategy variable. Person variable is your knowledge about yourself, what you can do, and what abilities do you have that may help you in doing the task. Task variable, on the other hand, task variable on the other hand, um, is your knowledge about how difficult or how easy is the task. And the strategy variable is your knowledge about different strategies on how are you going to tackle or finish the given task. In metacognition, we also have two important terms for you to know or for you to study about, and they are meta-attention and meta-memory. Meta-attention is the amount of attention that you put on the task or the challenge or the problem that is being presented to you to be solved. Meta memory is your ability to think about or to strategize the solution to the problem presented to you. Now, let us see what Omrod tells about metacognition. Omrod includes the following in the practice of metacognition. First one, knowing the limits of one's own learning and memory capacities. So, it means that you are using metacognition if you know the limit of your own learning and your memory capacities. For example, if you know that you can only memorize up to 5 sentences in 1 minute or in 2 minutes, then you are using metacognition. You know your limit. You know your memory capacities. Next, knowing what learning tasks one can realistically accomplish within a certain period of time. So if you know that you can realistically finish something within this period of time. For example, your teacher has presented to you a task and you know that the task presented cannot be finished within the time given, then you are using metacognition. In return, you can ask your teacher to give you more time because you know yourself that you cannot finish the task given. Next, knowing which learning strategies are effective and which are not. So, for example, if you know that um, you are you feel like science is easier than math and you finished first science, then you are using metacognition. You know your strategies and you are making use of them. Next, planning an approach to a learning task that is likely to be successful. So if you're going to attack um, the task given to you, if you're going to understand, put your mind on the task given to you and try to figure out what approach are you going to use in order to see that task, then you are making use of metacognition. Next, using effective learning strategies to process and learn new material. So, if you have learned a strategy and you know that that strategy is applicable to your new learning or to the new lesson that your teacher has given to you and you used it, then you are making use again of metacognition. Monitoring one's own knowledge and comprehension. Do you have a monitor of your knowledge at home, or do you monitor your comprehension? What I mean is, do you list words that you just knew and you keep on using them in order for you to to better or to improve your vocabulary? If you do such, then congratulations, because you are making use of metacognition. Another, using effective strategies for retrieval of previously stored information that is stored, I'm sorry. Now, for example, you are presented with a task or with an activity by your teacher, and you have recalled that in another activity you were presented before, you have recalled that you did or you made use of an effective strategy, and you are going to use it today again. Then you're making use of metacognition. Another, the last one. Knowledge is said to be metacognitive if it is keenly used in a purposeful manner to ensure that a goal is met. In short, meron yung sinasabi natin na, so what? Oh, ito yung activity ko. Ginamit ko ito. So what? May natutunan ba ako? Is my learning added? If you have made use of your strategies, if you have thought of ways on how to improve your learning, then you are making use of metacognition. Here is an example. I know that I have more difficulty with my science assignments, that is science, with my science assignments than English, and find Araling Panlipunan easier. So, I will do my homework in science first, then language arts, and then Araling Panlipunan. The red part is your person variable. Do you remember that a while ago? The person variable. I know that I have more difficulty, so knowledge of oneself, have more difficulty with science assignments than English, and find Araling Panlipunan easier. So you know your task. So, the yellow, so I will do my homework in science first, then language arts, and then Araling Panlipunan. That is the strategy variable. So I repeat, the red part is the person variable, the blue part is the task variable, and the yellow part is the strategy variable. We also have here WIT. WIT believes that metacognition includes the ability to ask and answer the following types of questions. If you're asking these questions, then you are making use of metacognition. Number one, what do I know about the topic, or about the issue, or about the subject? So if you are asking this yourself, ano ba itong topic na ito? Did I already meet this before? Have I already encountered it before? If you are asking that yourself, then you are making use of metacognition. Another, do I know what I need to know? Alam ko ba kung anong dapat kong malaman? Do you know why are you learning? If you're doing that, then you are making use of metacognition. Another, do I know where I can go to get some information or knowledge? If you're familiar with the strategies on where or the place where you can get some information, for example, I can use my dictionary, or I can go to the library, or I can ask my favorite teacher, or I can ask my ate or tita, then you are making use of metacognition. Another, how much time will I need to learn this? If you know the certain amount of time, in order for you to learn what is presented to you, then you are also making use of metacognition. Another, what are some strategies and tactics that I can use to learn this? Oh, if you're familiar with the strategies and tactics that you can use to learn the problem presented or the learning presented to you, then you are making use of metacognition. Another, did I understand what I just heard, read, or saw? If you do that, then you are making use of metacognition. How will I know if I am how will I know if I am learning at an appropriate rate? Am I keeping pace? Is my pace just right? Am I not too slow? Or am I not too fast in learning? If you're thinking that way, then you're making use of metacognition. Another, how can I spot an error if I make one? If I made a mistake, how will I know? If you're asking that yourself, then you're making use of metacognition. Another, how should I revise my plan if it is not working to my expectation or satisfaction? If, for example, I have committed mistake, how am I going? What is my plan B? What is my plan C in case my plan A and plan B fail? If you're asking those questions, then congratulations once again because you're making use of metacognition. Now, there are some metacognitive strategies to facilitate learning. First, we have PQLR. PQLR stands for tune in, question, listen, and remember. PQLR is for the younger learners. For example, they are for the primary learners or the preschoolers. Tune in means you are presenting them a motivational activity, and then you ask them question. Those questions must lead them to what they are going to listen about. The listening activity must be composed of the lesson that you want to present to them. And then the remember part is part of recall or part of the generalization or the valuing. Another meta Another metacognitive strategy to facilitate learning is the PQ4R. PQ4R stands for preview, question, and then the 4R stands for read, recite, review, and reflect. This is applicable for the the older learners, I should say. Example, the intermediate level to high school level. So, for example, in the preview, you're going to present to them a motivational activity just the same, just like in the PQLR. And then the question is composed of guide questions that may lead them to the reading activity. And then in the read, they're going to read something and that includes the lesson. And then in the recite, they're going to recite the lessons or the morals that they have learned out of what they have read. And then they're going to review what they have learned. And then lastly, they're going to reflect on how can they apply what they have learned in the review in real life scenario. So those are two metacognitive strategies. Now in metacognition, we have two types of learners. We have novice learner and the expert learner. The novice learner, as we all know from the word novice, is um, the not so well learners. Hindi pa sila yung magaling na magaling. Kaya nga novice. Example, um, they do not yet know. For example, if you present a task to them, they will just do the task right away without knowing how much time do they need to have in order to finish that lesson. While in expert learners, of course, they need to they know the amount of time they need in order for them to finish um, a lesson. Another, for example, in problem solving, the novice learners are already satisfied at just scratching the surface. Uh, for novice learners, the teachers are still asking the question, and the novice learners are already raising their hands and giving the answer. While the expert learners are listening to the full question and internalize the question before answering. Another, for the novice learners, for example, um, they employ, um, for example, you want them to process an activity or process an information. The novice learners would attempt to process all the information at a time, while expert learners will chop the information given to them and make sure that they get every inch of the information presented. So that is novice learner and expert learners. And you become expert learner if you make use of metacognition. But if you refuse metacognition, then you remain novice learners. Now, after internalizing what is metacognition, I need you to finish this activity. Answer the following questions using the answer sheet provided to you for this lesson. First one, recall the earliest learning you had at school as a kid. What made or helped you learn it? Yung pinakamaagang natatandaan mo na natutunan mo sa school na tinuro ni teacher mo. What is that? What made you learn it? Number two, what do you think affected its retention in your mind? Retention is na-retain siya sa utak mo. And hanggang ngayon, at your age, you can still remember it. So, what do you think affected the retention of that learning in your mind? Number three, what strategies of your teacher do you think made you remember that learning? Ano sa tingin mo yung strategy ng teacher mo noon? Doon sa learning na natatandaan mo, kung bakit hanggang ngayon, tanda mo pa rin yung lesson na yon. Number four, write a 5-sentence paragraph about your learning of this lesson. And then number five, do the metacognitive assessment sent to you and pass the result on the deadline. There will be a metacognitive assessment sent to you, hard copy. You need to accomplish that and pass it on time. Happy learning! I hope you learned something today. Good luck to more. God bless you all. Just beep me if you have questions or you need follow up. Thank you.